Thanks for working, Kendall.
Meet the Peterson family. Our dad, the three Peterson brothers, and our families farm together in central Kansas. Our family farm started in 1882 and has been raising cattle and crops ever since. Please subscribe to this channel and give us a like and a comment if you enjoy the video.
Greg and I just got back today from our trip to Alaska. Kendall's already put me back to work. It's alright. I'm just gonna go feed the cows on the pasture. We got back around noon. We're basically flying overnight, but here we are back on the farm.
Back.
Yeah.
Did you do anything exciting?
Nope, nothing fun. Just kidding. So Greg and I were obviously planting and spraying hard before we left, but so how much did you guys plant and spray while we were gone?
Dad and I didn't plant or spray a single acre.
But I'll bet the cattle
pretty
stuff
much
is all caught up.
We pretty much did cattle
Maybe
stuff all
not,
week.
so.
Sold 94 head. We bought back 100 something head.
Also, we had like 4 days of small chances of rain while we were gone. How much did it rain while we were gone?
0.001. It was like cloudy and misty a few times.
Not fun. It's supposed to rain on all the corn we had already planted.
Sent him some pictures. I went out and looked at the cornfields that had been planted.
Yeah,
at least one of them.
It's
There's a
coming
few
up.
browns.
But we were hoping to have some rain to plant the rest in the good moisture when we came back. I don't know what we're gonna do now. So getting the mama cows and the spring calves fed here. Pastures are a little slow to green up with the lack of rain, and it looks like we're gonna have to stretch grass again, so we're feeding them out here on it. On the Alaska trip, when we did the sled dog tours, all those dogs, they almost reminded me of a cow-calf herd. You know, the owner really knew his dogs. Workers that worked there, they knew each dog and you know how they acted, which ones were good lead dogs, which ones were good pullers. Dogs also were just so excited for what they got to do. They were so excited to pull the sled and stuff. And it reminded me of when cows get real excited to move to their next paddock of grass, and cowman knows each cow and her temperament and things like that. So that was almost like a form of Alaska agriculture. There were some muskox farms, reindeer farms. They grow fruits and vegetables in greenhouses, but also have some fields, I think, that were potatoes and other things. So they do have long days in the summer that they can grow some things, and the more they can grow up there, you know, the less they have to truck in.
And I just finished feeding 2A. I bought those last Thursday, and this is kind of the tail enders of the ones we bought on Thursday. So those ones are more eager to the bunk. They're probably eating 2 more pounds of ration per day. And then these ones are separated off. And I'm done with my grower 1 load and partway done with my grower 2. We need to sort 2 pins off of grower 2 where we're gonna sell this week. I'm getting all the gates ready, but I just wanted to make sure nothing in his 3 starting pins around here needed a shot or needed to be pulled out of the pen and get looked at before I put all the gates ready to sort. Okay, just got done feeding them hay. They're pretty much all at the bunk. This pen, a little spotty. Dad's gonna give them a bucket of pellets, protein pellets. I'm gonna get out of his way. So we're also rolling corn this morning. We're almost at the bottom of our Sioux steel bin. We're down to the last 2 rings, so we opened up out of there's 3 holes in the floor, so we opened up out of the 2nd hole today. Okay, here's our pen of 63 big steers. They were right behind the sort from 2 weeks ago, but some of them aren't quite big enough to sell, so we took some out of this pen. We took like 30 out of there to compare to the small end of these. Most of these should sell. My dad's on the wrong side of the gate with the 4-wheeler here. This sort is going faster than a lot of days. Sorted the pin of 107. Then this is the pin of 60. 63 or whatever. And most of the other pin was by, and most of this pin is in, so. Last year, one of the 3 ponds in this pasture was empty, and I couldn't graze it much at all. This year, this pond is empty. So it's actually a different pond than last year. It's dry. As long as I'm not overstocking, this pasture should still carry the 20 cows that are here, because that paddock that didn't get grazed much last year has a ton of old grass. So I just have them locked over there. Hopefully I can just leave them locked over there all the way until May to give the other big paddock with the biggest pond the most amount of time to grow back. If I end up grazing this, I'll end up having to let them around into that paddock with the big pond. But this pasture will probably get to grow and get grazed less, which means it should have really, a good amount of growth of grass, which is kind of good for the grass in the long term. Just kind of have to be flexible during a drought, I guess, and pray for rain. Is that what we do, Ada? She's like, were you talking to me? Fed the cows, possibly for the last time, some ration out here on the pasture. It's for sure green. We got that a little shower this morning, but we need a 1-inch rain. So I fed them in 3 piles here. There's 27 pair. So they have access to this long skinny paddock, but that big pond is empty. So I'm rigging it up to where they can go back all the way to the corner of that paddock to get water.
What do you smell, honey?
Silage. You smell silage. Well, we got a 1/4 inch of rain yesterday, which wasn't the 2 or 3 inches we wanted, but it did give us some nice moisture to plant into. So here we are, planting.
Well, here I am planting again. Yesterday was supposed to be our big rain event. 2 waves of storms, one in the morning, one at night. The first one brought about a 1/4 inch, maybe 30 hundredths. It came pretty heavy and kind of sideways, but then it was just kind of building over us, and then it rained more to the northeast, as per usual. The evening, there was another wave. Weather app said, oh, it's gonna rain 1 inch to 2 inches of heavy rain. It's going to build up right over central Kansas. And all the central and south central Kansas farmers will relate to me here, because like an hour before it said it was just going to build and be this big storm. It all just disappeared. Nothing for anyone. That really stings. So essentially the 30 hundredths we got soaked in so fast. I mean, it's already dusty on top. It was a little dark on top this morning, but the wind's blowing like 40 mile an hour again. But it did soften up this field that I gave up on planting this field before the rain, because it had just gotten so hard with the 90 degrees and the wind. But now it's softer, so I'm planting it and getting it in the ground, and there's some moisture there from the rain. So, but there's more chances of rain, but I'm just like, it's hard to get your hopes up when so many of them have just turned into nothing. But we'll keep praying and hoping. After Christmas there in January and even into February, we were battling mud for the cattle, and we had cows out grazing. Last year we weren't able to raise very heavy wheat because of lack of rain, and then we weren't able to grow a real heavy forage for them to graze, and then you're relying on that to feed your cows, and so you graze it maybe a little longer than you should as far as leaving cover to keep the ground softer. And so anyways, then you end up with not a whole lot of residue and hard ground, because it's so hot in April, and it's just weird and frustrating, but it's the way it is. You know, some of the fields that we did have the cows on during the wet spell, they've got, you know, a lot of hoof prints and stuff. And I thought about, you know, renting someone's like turbo till, vertical tillage for that, but just feels like all it takes is one good big rain and we would be able to deal with all that. But rain covers a multitude of sins in farming, so then when it doesn't rain you get exposed for any little weakness you have. So we're just gonna keep on keeping on, but it is a little frustrating, so I thought I'd rant a little. And I could rant a lot more, believe me. My wife and all of my brothers and dad and my mom, all of my family, we all kind of rant to each other. But
All right, it is April 26th. This feels like about the 5th or 6th week in a row where they've forecasted rains, you know, 90, 80% chance of rain. They say it's going to be 2 or 3 inches or 1 or 2 inches and you know, a significant rain. And the truth is we haven't really had a significant rain since February. We were in pretty good shape in January, February. If you remember, it's actually pretty muddy. I don't think our subsoil moisture ever really got filled up or anything. We never got any water in the ponds, really. They're all still dry. And from February on, we've had anywhere from like 20 hundredths to maybe 3/4 of an inch on all of our fields. So for 60 days, basically not much. And it's been hot, it's been windy, it's 80 some degrees today, the wind's blowing, and you can't even hardly tell it rained yesterday. So we are still in dire need of moisture, but you can't complain about a 1/4 inch instead of 0. I mean, we are very thankful we got something. Definitely need some rain soon. We're still praying for rain. Windy?
Getting some sorting of steers and heifers done here. The group of 100 some we bought last week, we sorted them steers and heifers. They were big enough groups. We sorted them to where there's heifers in that pen, steers in the pen up there, so we won't have to sort them in 30 days, but these ones definitely need sorted. There's a few different sizes. We'll have to take off a few big ones and bump them up a pen too. Okay, I'm taking these ones out of the pen, running up where that feed tractor is. If these 2 idiots would get out of here, quit messing up my system. But this guy, he's been bugging me. He was over by the water. He's been being dumb the whole time. Okay, don't be dumb. It's my motto when working with cattle. I tell them, don't be dumb. Oh my, aching back. Okay, I got the wheat pasture cattle. All but 2 of them are inside the pen 7. I'm gonna try to sneak around behind these ones so that they make a good choice. Well, while they were in the alley, they ate all the wheat that's been growing. Some of this wheat was as tall as the bunk. They ate all the wheat that's been growing alongside there. My weed eaters.
It is a Monday, April 29th, and we are spraying some triticale cover crop. We're pretty happy with how this cover crop turned out. However, as you guys know, we are needing rain, so it's going to be tough to plant into this without a rain, just like any other field. But we're going to spray this off because it's starting to head out, and then we're going to hopefully get in here within the next couple weeks and plant soybeans. But just going to cross our fingers and hope for rain at some point in there to soften up the ground a little bit. Nathan brought the sprayer over here this morning, and I brought the tender truck. This is our farthest away field, so it takes 2 of us coming out here. We got the sprayer loaded and it's mixing, and Nathan will get started spraying here. So as you can see, we've got the triticale, we've got last year's corn residue, and Nathan was scouting this field before I got here, and he said he can't hardly find any broadleaf weeds out here, so we're just going to put on Roundup and hopefully That'll save us some money, not having to do any other chemical. You know, that's the value of this cover crop, is to hopefully prevent any other weeds from growing, save us some money on chemical, and have a nice residue cover even after it's been sprayed off. Nathan's all filled up with his second load, so I'm going to go ahead and head to the next field, which is at my house, and maybe put some more water in here for him. But he'll finish up this field, and in a couple days or maybe a week, this field will start to die and be ready to plant the next crop.
We drilled this after corn, did not graze it. It's along a creek and can get very muddy. I was hoping to plant this green, so to make sure it doesn't get wet. Well, everything's very early, and obviously we've been missing the rain so far. We have more chances this week. We'll see what happens. But it feels like it's time to kill this. It's all headed out. We'll start pollinating soon. I like how it looks. Some people grow a lot taller cover crops, but this actually raised our best corn last summer. We got some pop-up showers over here, raised some good corn. Up on the knoll, it wasn't quite as good, so I expect the cover to be taller and greener there. We try to do the no-till and cover to balance out the rainfall fluctuations. But of course, if it just never rains, it doesn't really matter what you do. But we turned our winter moisture into good organic matter and cover. Where we have fallow ground, where we didn't do a cover, if we drill beans into there, you know, we'll have a little moisture for a little while longer. But what we saw last year was if you don't get rain in the summer, it doesn't matter if you had stored up moisture. At least that's what it feels like around here. Our best beans last year were behind a cover crop. Our worst beans were behind a cover crop, but it mattered a lot more how much it rained at that field. And we had so many random pop-up showers. We're frustrated by the weather, but we're just gonna keep on keeping on.
Okay, I'm down here kind of in some bottom ground compared to that's the hill part of this field. This is the part we fertilized the heaviest, this lower lying spot till it gets down to that pond. So this is where we got about 30-40 acres we want to chop of this triticale. Some of it still in the boot, so you can see it coming out of the boot. So the stuff that has enough moisture down here in this lower ground is a little bit farther behind. And the stuff up there is already headed. So I was just kind of trying to get an estimation of how many days until we want to chop this. We have done direct chop the last 2 years on triticale and wheat. And this year I'm hoping to windrow it and then pick it up. And that way it loses some moisture, but we get to chop it in an earlier stage, which means higher protein. Here's the field edge on some kind of a more compacted spot that probably wasn't fertilized. So you can really see a difference there versus what I was just showing you. I'm walking back to my truck here. Here's that burned pasture that we did. If you look real closely, there's still a few black spots. But it's greening up real good, even without much rain. Okay, Ada, which pen do we feed the corn to? We feed them to that pen?
Thanks for watching, everyone. Check out our music videos linked in the description. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, and explore our website, www.petersonfarmbrothers.com. See you guys next time.